let's talk about corporate America. The exact system that is designed to keep average people, pretty much most people, in poverty. And I want to talk about my experiences and what I've been seeing over I've been working since, I'm currently 28 right now. I've been working since the age of 16, so about 12 years now. I mean, I've not been working my whole life necessarily, but I want to talk about the bullshit that you have to deal with when it comes to working in corporate America. And so I notice this more and more when I just interact with other coworkers, and also just the way how a lot of these corporations are run, basically, right? So I personally believe that there are no such thing as good jobs. The quote unquote good jobs only exist depending on who is running the company at the time of you working there, right? So anytime that I hear like a friend or family member talk about like, oh, I got this new job, pays really well, it's got good benefits and all that, the coworkers are really cool, and the boss is really cool and all that. Well, sure, that might sound good on paper. However, that is only until something happens where a certain person quits, the person in power quits, and then someone else takes over, then it completely goes to shit afterwards. And then anything can change, right? So again, with the cost of living rising up quicker than ever, most jobs do not pay enough to live comfortably on your own. And so let alone support an entire family, which is a lot harder for a lot of young people right now. And with everything that goes on, I notice more people, even older folks. It's not just young people, right? Like I notice more older folks that are getting tired of working regular jobs because you feel like you have to work endlessly just to barely make ends meet. And so I notice more people that are in their 60s and 70s even that are working these very average, low-paying jobs. And I highly doubt that any of them actually want to be there. Maybe there's a small percentage of them that actually enjoy working, because I know that some old folks, like they enjoy the social aspect of that, like they enjoy socializing people, which is fine. But other than that, the way that the system is designed is to keep you on a hamster wheel and then, give you very little in return, right? And so the way that a lot of these companies keep you on the hook is they do little things here and there, right? Like they'll give you a raise maybe every year or 18 months or something like that. You'll get like a 60-cent raise. They're like, hey, we're giving you a raise, right? But when you look at the cost of living rising up, it is nowhere near matching up to that. In fact, you're maybe making less even with the raise that you're getting when you compare it with cost of living, right? So you have that. And then also what a lot of these companies do is they'll do things every now and then where, let's say the company that you're in, like they hit like a record number of profits or something like that. And then it's like, oh, after 6 months of your hard work, thank you so much. We're going to give you like a pizza party or something like that, right? That corporate pizza party thing, right? And it's like, it's like, okay, everyone grab 2 slices and all that. And then, but it's like, even in that, it's like, I know that there's going to be someone saying like, oh, you should be grateful for that. But the thing is, like, it's very hard to even enjoy like little moments like that because you feel like you have to eat really quick just so that you can get back on the clock. So that's kind of the vibe that I've had when it came to, situations like that, is like you feel like you have to kind of go quick and you can't fully enjoy it because you're at work, you're in the building with all your other coworkers who are just barely making ends meet as well, and they're all miserable. They all don't want to be there. And so I don't really think that's that big of an incentive. And so then on top of that, you have things like rules, like really lame rules that happen, right? So one thing that comes to mind is, let's say that 2 or 3 people call off that day. What typically happens is you are then given more pressure, right? And so then you're told, okay, you gotta really pick up the pace. And that, that's the main thing with a lot of these jobs is oftentimes you just feel very rushed, right? You feel like there's like this constant vibe of like, go, 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 go. Come on, keep going. You gotta get all this work done, right? And so that is one thing that gets really exhausting after all. Even if you feel like you're really working as fast as you can, oftentimes it's just never enough. You feel like you are just constantly being pressured to work more, and this is the number one thing that contributes to a lot of stress. And this is one thing that I believe is why more people seem to be like against each other and kind of at each other's throats, is just because of the fact that most people are just kind of stuck in this rat race basically, right? So then on top of that, even if you decide that you're going to be like you're going to work as hard as you possibly can, what you're going to get in often in return is maybe you'll get like a couple pats on the back, saying good job and all that. But really, at the end of the day, you're often going to be rewarded with more work, right? So one example that I will give is with a job that I worked at, which was, stocking shelves and all that. There would be like all the grocery aisles that, every worker would get assigned like 2 aisles, and you had to complete like 2 aisles in a specific shift. So what you would do is you'd put all the items on the pallet, in front of each section of the aisle. And then after you stock everything up, then you got to put whatever doesn't go on the shelf on the pallet. Then you just, bring it to the back, right? That's what I would, do. And so for a while, it was, where when you finish an aisle, you bring all your stuff to the back, right? And there was a phase where, we got like a bunch of new workers or something like that, like a bunch of people quit. And then I stayed there a bit longer. And then, I was then told, like toward the end of the day from like one of my managers, like, okay, pull everyone's back stock back, right? So all these new workers, like they weren't taught to actually do this stuff. And then I'm given the extra work because I'm perceived as the best worker in the company, right? Or I'm perceived as like one of the best, basically. And I don't say that to toot my own horn because I don't think that's really anything worth bragging about, but there is definitely a price you pay when you decide to become like that loyal, hard worker that you try to do the best that you can. You stick to one company. There is definitely a price that you pay for that. And so that is one thing, oftentimes you have to deal with that. And so I called it out when I was given that, saying like, hey, shouldn't every person bring their own stuff back? And then I was given this dumb excuse like, oh, well, it's because then everyone else can kind of focus on their specific section or something like that. I don't know. It's really dumb. But there's a lot of things like that you have to deal with. And so then oftentimes you have to deal with a lot of rude customers as well. And just again, people are just very miserable, so they want to cause chaos wherever they go. But luckily, I don't have to deal with that at my last job because the last 2 jobs I worked, people were pretty chill and I didn't really have to interact with people as much. But I definitely dealt with that at one other job that I've had. And so one other instance that comes to mind that I will talk about was I once had to do a open to close. This was at a previous company that I worked at many years ago. And so it was at a dollar store that I worked at. And there typically would be 2 to 3 people employed at a store at a time. And it would be me, another manager, and then maybe another cashier or something like that. Well, no one was available on a specific day, and I had to do an open and close where I had to go into work at 7 a.m. and then work until the store closed at 10 p.m. So over 10 hours working on that particular day. And that's doing 3 different jobs at once, constantly being rushed while constantly being told you're not working hard enough, you got to pick up the pace. And then on top of that, the next day I had to work, a lengthy shift as well. And so then when I got home, my manager texted me saying hey, this other person called off, can you come back into work? And I said no, I'm exhausted, I got to rest. And then after maybe 30 minutes later, he sent me a very angry text message saying oh, thanks so much for your help. Now because of you, I can't hang out with my wife basically, which I thought was really dumb. And I wrote a very angry message in response. And then he kind of backed off and said, okay, I'll give you these extra 2 days off. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to deal with. And on top of all that, you're barely scraping by when you feel you're just working endlessly, right? So the best solution for this is you have to job hop as much as you possibly can if you are in corporate America, right? So if you decide that you don't want to pursue anything like an online business, or you don't want to go into a trade, I believe the best approach for most people is, of course, unless if you have a really high paying job that treats you well, you ideally want to always be looking for the next best possible option. So you want to be hypergamous when it comes to jobs. And because of the fact that these jobs, they don't really care about you, they don't really have your back. So best thing that you could do, you have a decent paying job right now maybe, but you of course want to look into what is the next best option you could apply for. Because even if you are very loyal to that company that you're with, or you go up to a higher position, the raise that you'll get is going to be nowhere near compared to what you'll often get when you just switch to a different company altogether. And so that is going to be the best option for navigating corporate America. However, the even better approach than that is you want to have multiple sources of income. So on the side of your 9 to 5, the simplest thing that you could do for the average everyday person to get ahead and have more freedom is you want to have ways of making money online. Start some sort of online business. Like, I cannot stress this enough. You want to have something that you could do online on the side of your 9 to 5, whether that is starting a YouTube channel, growing a TikTok page, learning AI, or promoting digital products online. That's what I do personally, is I just promote different products. I do digital marketing, and it's a very simple business model where you just have a link to a product that you want to promote, and you just get really good at marketing. As long as you know how to get attention online, you get people to click on a link, whether that's with paid ads or with posting content online, then you could do this very easily, and you could even do it without having to show your face online. So that is one way that you could, of course, go about it, but there's many different things you could do. And the most important thing is you want to use your free time very wisely, because of the fact that AI is taking a lot of these positions anyway. So there's a good chance that whatever position you're working right now might not exist in a couple of years. I hope I'm wrong on that, but there's always that possibility. And if you want any chance of starting a family and having that traditional lifestyle, then the best thing that you could do is to have as many income streams as you possibly can, which I know most people don't want to hear that because it requires a lot of work and you have to really be on the grind constantly. But the long-term payoff of that is going to be far greater compared to the dopamine that you'll get when you are off work and you just play video games, for example, or you just watch movies, right? So it's very tempting when you get off work to feel very tired. You like, oh, I just want to lay in bed, I just want to rest. But if you use that free time wisely and you just decide to put that towards learning a skill, then that is something that could pay you 10x what you're making for less work than you're doing right now. So that should be the ultimate goal. And when you have income online that you're getting, then you can live wherever you want. That's the other benefit. You could provide better support for your family without having to be on the clock 24/7, like a hamster on the wheel, basically. So let me know your honest thoughts on this down below. If you want to see more in depth about what I do personally, then you could check out my school community that I have right here. And you can learn more about how to make money promoting digital products online. That's mainly what I do. It has a lot of really cool benefits to it. So check that out if you want to learn more. Otherwise, if you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up, share your thoughts down below, and take care. See you in the next one.